Okay, I have this 40-minute mammoth video about the public dialogue server, otherwise known as the oh my god, yes, but don't get that excited server. No, I don't know what it's going to be called, but 40 minutes of it, yeah. So, it is 3:30 in the morning, so I don't want to be too loud. There's no chance I'm going to scream at somebody, "You fucktarded, what are you thinking about having that opinion on an esoteric thing?" Could you even hear that? Okay. Look, I got my glasses on, but I got nothing to look at. I got a glasses appointment for real glasses. These are all just plus 1.25ers. A couple 1.5s, but that's too much for me. I think it's hurting my vision. I need to get the ones that are just right, I think. I'm ready. I don't lose these that fast now. Okay. Anyway, I've been watching Eric Hovind. It's been getting bad. I've even been watching Kent Hovind, and I really enjoy these guys. Now, mind you, the first time I learned the name Kent Hovind, now I'd heard about his creation museum with dinosaurs and human stuff before. But the name Kent Hovind, I learned from that tribute to Kent Hovind by Eddie Goomba. Great song. I want to learn it. As a matter of fact, I really want to learn it if anybody knows the chords of it or could figure them out. Y'all know this guy. He's a freaking ass. Calls himself a doctor, but he hasn't passed a science. But on the other hand, I kind of like Eric, and I feel bad for Eric. And to tell you the truth, Kent, he's a tax advocate. I mean, no, not advocate. He's a tax activist. That's what I was looking for. So, what you gonna do? Go to jail for 10 years, I guess. That's the price you pay. But, yeah, I mean, and I believe in taxes, so that's the way it's gotta be. You gotta follow the laws. He made up a couple excuses that were kind of lame. But I feel bad for Eric. And I think, the thing is, I mean, a lot of, people that are recovering theists, they just think this stuff is all much more dangerous than I do. To me, I find them really entertaining because they reverse engineer scientific facts. And there's a dishonesty to it, like all you anti-theists complain, all the anti-theists complain, but they admit that they're like, we start from the Bible. Well, a lot of people that are willing to admit that, hey, we start from the Bible, that's our word, they just say, it is true, I don't want to think about it anymore. But the Hovinds, they absolutely love. See, what it is it thinking about facts and reverse engineering them to their ideas. But what it reminds me of is when I write a story, I'll think about a story, and the neat thing about a story is you have to reverse engineer the facts. Like when I was young, I wrote a story, and it was really pivotal in how I think about, what if life is a dream? So I wrote a story where life really is a dream, and there's these, entities that are kind of running the dream, and spirits get caught in the dream, and so that they can learn something. I forget what. I don't forget what I remember exactly well. But anyway, I don't want to talk about it. But, and what you do in a case like that is you want to help the reader, even if there never is going to be one, whatever. Even yourself, if nobody else, you want to help them suspend disbelief by making a realistic story. I happen to like really realistic stories. It's like there's a lot of vampire stories. But the thing about Interview with a Vampire is that it was done real realistically. It's like, well, whatever. And there was an Invisible Man story done real realistically. Like he had to worry about the fact that before he metabolized food, you could see it. So when he first ate food, you could see it. He had to take that into account when he was hiding, these realistic things. And by golly, that's what the Hovinds do with the Bible. They do it, to such a degree where both of those guys, they might mention some little study. Now, they may misrepresent the study. They've interpreted the study to fit into the Bible. And it seems and has a certain amount of dishonesty to it. But then they admit what they're doing, and but anyway, the point is, I'll find a study I didn't know about. I'll look it up and I'll go, oh, that is an interesting little anomaly. And one of the interesting things is the whole scaling thing. Now, the scaling that scientists offer us is not so bad that I think the Earth could be a few thousand years old. That's ridiculous. But it is pretty amazing. I mean, it can go from, well, like in the universe, it could still be that it's 10 billion, or it could be 20, not 15, not 14. Or it could even turn out that, well, time doesn't work like we think, and that doesn't mean what we think, right? Or in the Earth case, back to the Earth case, it's like there are these weird scaling factors where the scientists have relied on the fact that there's a scaling factor, then they guess what it is, then they publish all the years based on that, but they're really still working on the scaling factor, but it's not going to scale down to 10,000 years, no. A lot of things that Kent says, no. And that's another reason I'm interested in Eric, because he does this presuppositional philosophical stuff, and that's valid. That's not misrepresenting. Right? The thing is, our epistemology, our classical epistemology, when we kind of went atheist, was all set up by people that still believed in God, and they're just like, well, what if I didn't believe in God? How would I explain it? And there are remnants of God in it. I would love to debate Eric Hovind. I think it might not go well. I'd be interested to see if he got, like, he does get irate sometimes, but I would be polite. I wonder if he would get irate because of the meaning, or if it is just, our anti-theists have no respect, and when it comes down to they don't have an answer, they just show their disrespect, and that's fine. It really is, it's fine. I mean, we've been shown, we atheists, a lot of disrespect by the creationists when they're in control, but still. I just think that people that are putting God into the gaps, people that are trying to track physics, because look, when I'm growing up, I'm looking at evangelists and creationists like Jim and Tammy Baker. I knew those suckers were corrupt before it all came out. It just had to be. I didn't think it'd ever come out. I didn't think it would be as bad as it was and as blatant. No way. But, just know Jimmy Swaggart's up there crying. He's a liar. So the Hovinds come across pretty good among that group. They just happen to believe in the Bible, and literally enough that, the Earth's 6,000 years old, and they're going to fit sedimentary. But it's funny, too, because, like Kant, I was watching this thing. I've seen some interesting debates between Kant and other creationists, other creationists that just think God did take millions of years, But some of the things Kant says, like he thinks all the sedimentary layers were basically not done over billions of years or millions of years, of course, but were part of the flood, because, if you take some mud, you shake it up in a cup, it'll settle down into layers with the heaviest things in the bottom, and it's like, but Kent, the heaviest things aren't all at the bottom. The reason the birds are at this one layer is because the birds last longer. It takes them longer to die when there's a flood. They find things that are floating, they stand on them, and when they finally die of starvation, they're the last whereas the clams are buried right away. I just love it. It's like it's great fodder for a virtual environment. So see, some people think it's just more dangerous. To me, it's like if somebody comes up with a good play on the Spider-Man myth, it's not like I'm in danger of making that my religion. The fact that I find it entertaining that he is this veil of water over the earth. See, there was this veil of water, suspended ice, and it all fell to earth. That's where all the flood water came from. And I mean, it does have a sort of sense, like a science fiction, speculative fiction sense. He's comic book level of physics is fit better than anybody else I've seen so far. It's a pretty hard job fitting the Bible into any evidence, let alone, a big. Oh, and he just goes back and forth between evidence and like, this is probably common sense. Oh, it's entertaining. Anyway, cheers. I should go to sleep. Good night.